What's going on, everybody? Eric Bourassa here, and today I want to talk about writing guitar harmonies. Guitarmonies? I've got a melody. It sounds a little bare on its own because if someone was just singing it, it would be fine. But because it's on guitar instrumental melodies tend to need to be a little bit more complicated for the kind of audience that's listening to them. But I want to keep simple melodies. So the way that I make it a little more complex is just by adding harmonies. So I treat it like a standard pop melody, and we want to try doing a couple of things. First, we can try adding a harmony in thirds. We can try adding a harmony in fourths. Or what the heck, let's try doing a harmony using parallel fifths. Finally, we can try using a harmony with diatonic sixths. Okay, so we've done thirds, fourths, fifths, and sixths, all strictly using those intervals in the scale. And you get some cool things, you get some very 80s things. Typically thirds and sixths, boy, that's a hard word to say, are the best way to go, but it really just kind of depends on what you are after. I tend to try each of those things, not usually seconds or sevenths, because they're inverse of one another and they tend to be the most jarring. Whereas everything in between, thirds and sixths, which are the inverse of each other, they're going to have the strongest harmonic presence, and then fourths and fifths will feel a little bit more open or airy. The other thing you can do is just double up or down an octave, or both. Sometimes I like to do that. I'll move the melody up an octave and have those be played at the same time, or down, or all three at the same time, and it just kind of adds some depth to it that way. But for this melody, adding these harmonies, none of the just diatonic strict thirds, fourths, fifths, or sixths worked for me. So I wanted to use a little bit of counterpoint, which means sometimes your harmony moves in the opposite direction of your regular melody. And so this is what I ended up coming up with. Okay, so something that's important to keep in mind here is the chord tones based on what chords are being played behind it. So in this song, the chords that are being played behind it, we have a C5, like this, F5, back to C5, A5, F. So that's my verse chord progression, and so it's a C harmony, F harmony, and an A minor harmony. Well, let's think about what chord tones are in common between those three chords. So the note C over a C chord is the root, the note C over the F chord is the fifth, and the note C over an A minor chord is the third, the minor third. So though the C is going to always sound great as an added harmony, and that's why it's kind of at the center of the melody. Let's take the note E from the C chord. That's the third of C, it's the major seventh of F, which I love, and it's the fifth of A. So it's pretty cool with all of those. And then G, which is our fifth of the C chord, it ends up being the ninth of the F, also very colorful, and it ends up being the minor seventh of the A minor. So those are kind of the three chord tones I want to probably focus on the most, and then we could fill it in with some other things. So what I ended up doing was I said, well, heck, let's just start on the root. And I love this little melody. You'll hear that a lot in my music. I can't get away from it. I didn't want to use it as the melody, but to use that as the harmony. So at the very beginning, we basically have a G and a C. And then, when the regular melody goes up to a D, the harmony goes down to a B. So that's nice. That creates that minor third there. We drop down to G in the harmony, and we stay on C in the melody. Kind of like that. And then I drop down to E and the harmony, which actually matches the melody at that point. But then when the melody goes down to D, the harmony goes up to A. Or sorry, down to C. And the harmony, kind of like that. And then we have D and G together. Right? So it sounds a little kind of weird in isolation, but essentially what I just did was I looped my melody over and over again. And I just tried adding in lots of chord tones that work well, basically the chord tones from the C chord, and those work well over the F and over the A minor as well. I just kind of played around with it. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. I'm kind of all over the place. Basically, my advice is start with thirds, fourths, fifths, and sixes. Determine if any of those work just by themselves. And if they don't, then start to just mix and match. And then instead of following the strict direction of the melody when it goes up and down, try moving in the opposite direction and then just experiment from there and see what you like. So I don't know, if you got questions or comments, let me know down in the comments below. Be sure and subscribe and like the video if you like it. If you don't like it, well then dislike it. But engage with me somehow so I know what you think. And then I plan to do some more with guitarmonies, and some other cool licks and creative ideas just as I am going about finishing this album. So let me know what questions you have, what kind of topics you'd like me to cover next, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Bye.